Welcome to Sleep Story of Legends, the channel where epic adventures turn into peaceful dreams. If you love the greatest heroes and the grandest journeys, you're in the right place. Before we begin, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave a comment about what stories you'd love to hear next. Now, close your eyes, relax, and let's drift into the mind of a legend. The sea was quiet. The ship rocked gently, the waves whispering their secrets against the wood of the thousand sunny. The night sky stretched endlessly above, stars blinking lazily, as if they too were tired from the day's adventures. The crew had long since gone to sleep, their laughter fading into the warm silence of slumber. But not Luffy. Luffy lay flat on his back, arms folded behind his head, staring up at the ceiling of his room. He wasn't used to thinking too much, but tonight felt different. His mind, usually carefree, felt full. His body, usually exhausted, still buzzed with the echoes of battle, the laughter of his friends, and the weight of an old question that never really left him. Is the One Piece even real? It was a thought he rarely said aloud. It wasn't like him to doubt things. He always believed, always moved forward. But on nights like this, when everything was still, he wondered. His mind drifted, unbidden, to the fights that had brought him here. Each one had left a mark, some physical, some deeper. Crocodile, the desert heat, the dry sting of sand in his eyes, the feeling of his body hitting the ground, losing again and again, until he learned, until he stood up one more time, stronger, and punched through everything Crocodile had built. It was the first time he had fought someone who truly seemed unbeatable. The first time he had to push himself beyond what he thought possible. Lucci, the pounding rain of a Nai's lobby, the way his body screamed at him to stop, to give in, to let go. But he couldn't. Robin needed him. His crew needed him. He roared into the storm and fought past his limits, breaking Lucci's monstrous strength with sheer will. That was the day he realized just how far he would go for his friends, how far he had to go. Marineford. His breath hitched, even in the quiet of his room. Ace. The desperate chase through chaos, the battle against time itself. He had been strong. No, he thought he had been strong, but it wasn't enough. No matter how much he fought, how much he bled, he couldn't change fate. He had never felt weaker than he had on that day, kneeling in the cold ocean, screaming in agony as the world took something from him that he could never get back. But he had also never been more determined to move forward. And then there was Kato, a force like a storm, a battle so long, so grueling, that it blurred the line between dream and nightmare. He had died, hadn't he? At least for a moment. But he had stood up again. He had laughed in the face of death, lightning dancing around him, and struck down the Emperor of the Sea. That fight had changed him. He wasn't just a boy chasing adventure anymore. He was someone the world had to take seriously. His battles had shaped him, but his friends, they were the reason he fought it all. Zoro, always steady, always pushing himself harder than anyone. His first crewmate, his brother in arms. a man who never doubted him, even when things seemed impossible. Naomi, fierce and brilliant, who had learned to trust, just as he had learned to listen. Yusuf, scared, but never truly cowardly, proving time and again that courage wasn't about not being afraid, it was about standing up despite it. Sanji, cooking and fighting with the same burning passion, a loyalty so deep it burned. Chopper, sweet and strong, who had gone from a lonely monster to their irreplaceable doctor. Robin, who had once been afraid to dream, now smiling with the hope of the future. Frankie, wild and loud, but with a heart that built more than just ships. Brooke, who had known loneliness longer than anyone, yet still laughed louder than them all. Jinbei, who had finally taken his place among them, a warrior of the sea who had been watching over him long before Luffy even realized it. Every one of them had a dream. Every one of them believed in him as much as he believed in them. But when he closed his eyes, it wasn't just his crew he saw. Shanks, the man who had set him on this path, who had given him his hat, his dream, and a reason to become strong. Evie, Law, Hancock, Sabo, the faces of people who had changed his journey, who had fought beside him, or guided him in ways he would never forget. Ace, the thought of him hurt the most, but even that pain was different now. Warmer, maybe, as if Ace still walked beside him, unseen, but never gone. He turned onto his side, staring at the moonlight spilling through the window. A one piece. So many years. So many people chasing it, dying for it. He knew it was real. He had to believe that. But what then? What happens when he finds it? When he stands at the end of the world and finally holds the treasure of Gold Roger in his hands? Would he be done? His fingers curled slightly. No, that wasn't right. He would never be done. That wasn't who he was. Finding the one piece wasn't the end of his adventure. It was just another beginning. He grinned to himself, feeling the weight in his chest lighten. No matter what lay at the end of his journey, it wouldn't change the most important thing. The sea was vast. There would always be another island, another fight, another friend to meet. That was the real adventure. And as long as his crew was with him, as long as the winds carried his ship forward, he would never stop chasing the horizon. With that thought, Luffy closed his eyes. The rocking of the ship, the quiet breaths of his sleeping crew, the whispering waves, they all lulled him into a deep, dreamless sleep. Tomorrow was another day, another adventure. Thank you for listening to Sleep Story of Legends. If you enjoyed this journey through the mind of Monkey D. Luffy, don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell us in the comments what legendary story you would like to hear next. Sweet dreams, adventurer. The sea is always calling.